Welcome to the Divine Style podcast with Alison and Gerlinda Stella. Here we share spiritual lessons in self-love and self-expression. In this episode, we discuss energy, colours, and the benefits of aligning your chakras. My name's Gerlinda Stella. I'm a personal stylist and I help people to love themselves from the inside out.
I'm Alison and I am a psychic medium. I assist people with pretty much everything spiritual. Together we've made quite a team in the past. We've worked together several times now on different projects, and I figure that if we've got the soul covered and the body covered, then we're all covered.
It's all holistic.
It's all holistic.
And today we were wanting to talk about, I think, the foundation of all things spirituality, which is energy. You know a lot more about this than myself. I am slightly a novice. I've read a lot of Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle to understand that sort of metaphysical side of things. But can you tell everybody a little bit about how energy works? Because you actually talk to spirits, you do energy healing.
Yes, well, energy is the vibration, basically. So we are vibration. Everything is vibration. When you look at colour, and that's your really big area of colour, I know, because Gerlinda, you've styled me for when I appeared on The Bachelor and when there's been other events that I've gone to. And when I first came to you about my look and the colours that work for me, I was really surprised at how, when you put me in colours that made me feel good because they matched my skin tone or however you came to that conclusion. I was like, yeah, it's the vibration of the colour, it's the vibration that I'm feeling, okay? Because we as humans are in a body, obviously, but our soul is actually a vibration. And that vibrates to different colours. And you've heard about auras, right?
Yes.
You've probably seen the aura photographs. You've seen how, that people come out and they've got these pretty colours all over them. Well, that is, each individual person has got different colours in their aura depending on the chakra system, which is the 7 energy points where the soul connects to the body. And the chakra system works in a way that it will keep the energy moving on these points or vortexes. And when they get blocked up with negative emotions, emotional problems, etc., it can actually make you sick. So colour is actually a healer.
I've never thought of it like the vibration, but I would say things like red everything's got a positive and a negative side. So red can be something that's really strong and powerful, but at the same time it can also mean a warning, or it can be quite angry as well, depending on how it's used.
And it can also be about passion, but not necessarily the sexual passion, although that's where we see a lot of red, particularly in the advertising of those things. But it is the base chakra, so it is in that area, you see. So it's right around that organ, if you like, but it's about passion in the sense of wanting to move forward with something and get the energy for the passionate movement. So if you're very passionate about a project, or you're passionate about saving the planet, or whatever it is, it's still passion. And red can give you that energy to be able to move forward on that. So it's all about the intent as well.
And so then if we move up the chakras, if we're talking about that in terms of energy, then so we've got the red as the base, and then the next one is is it orange?
Yes.
Your sacral.
The sacral chakra, which is just below the belly button. So that one is orange. And if you look at the structure of how this works, it's the vibration slowly moving up like the rainbow colours. Okay, so we are actually rainbow people, right? Because we've got all the colours of the rainbow within us. In fact, if our eyes could see all the spectrum of colour, which they're not physically able to do, we're just not equipped to do that, but if they could, they would be able to see that everywhere around us is rainbows, because that's the spectrum of light that's around us. But when we see a rainbow, it's refracted through water droplets or bent through the water droplets, so we're able to physically see it with our eyes. And those little beautiful crystal drops that hang from the window, you can see it when the light's refracted or bent through that as well. So just enable us to see what is around us. But spiritual people or psychic people can often see those colours anyway. I've always been able to see auras, even when I was a small child. So for something, it's just normal for me to see colour around people. And so that colour then becomes a way of diagnosing what may be going on with them.
Okay, so what would an unhealthy aura colour be?
Usually that can be like a very sort of mucky colour. So it can be like a beautiful green, maybe more like a khaki or olive colour, because it's got the grey mixed in with it, you see. So that's the negative. And it can have big blocks of black or can have some tears, depending on what they've been up to.
So it's more about the clarity of the colour in terms of how iridescent it is.
Yes, yeah.
It's really, colour is, I find it to be very healing myself, being able to wear colour, because a lot of people do get stuck in black, and you can, I know black is one of your favourite, it is slimming. There's lots of other options too. You can do like dark charcoal or navy.
I've taken that on board. Actually, black is it's not essentially a colour, actually, black.
No, it's the absence of all colour.
It's the absence of all colour. So it absorbs. And what happens here is that, if you have people's energy around you, and if you're a very sensitive person like I am, my sensitivities include, the psychic senses that I have are virtually all of them. So when I'm, in a normal setting, say, for instance, a restaurant or somewhere like that, conversations for me are very loud. The feelings in the room are screaming at me. Their dead relatives are talking to me. It's like, it's full on. So black is a shield.
For you, it's like your protection. And I mean, the same with crystals as well, isn't it? Because we can introduce crystals which have got the colour, so obsidian or jet or all of those colours of protection.
All down to vibration again. You see, because the crystal will hold the vibration. It's a way. It's actually a natural formation that holds onto the vibration. So it can do all those wonderful things for you. It holds the vibration of love. So when you have it on you, you'll feel the love. It holds the vibration of negativity release. So when you have the smoky quartz, for instance, is one of the few crystals that will take in negativity and release positive energy. So it transmutes the energy.
Wow, that is one of my favourite crystals. I love smoky quartz.
There you go. So when we're talking about energy and the vibration of things, there's so many tools that we have around us that can help us with our everyday life, and crystals is definitely one of them. The colour is such a basic and easy thing, because every day we wear clothes. Well, I hope so anyway, most of us do. Every day we have, usually people will have some kind of colour on them, whether it be some makeup or some jewellery. The basics around this is, if you need a colour to feed whatever chakra is blocked, your body will crave that. Okay.
And we all have a favourite colour. Most people say that they've got a favourite colour. And I always say, excluding black and white, because they are not colours. Yeah.
The next chakra up is the yellow one.
Yes.
Which it tends to be. And at the moment, yellow's the big... I've noticed.
It has come out. Yes, there is a lot of yellow.
You would
around.
know more about it than me, because normally I'm oblivious to things like that. Because yellow is not my colour, it doesn't suit me when I wear it. I don't tend to wear yellow, but I'll wear gold in jewellery to feed that chakra. So the higher vibration of yellow is gold.
And that's your solar plexus, which is actually quite an important chakra, isn't it?
It's your survival instinct, and it's the first one to open after birth. So when we have that gut instinct of, yes, I should be doing this, or no, I shouldn't, that's actually a psychic ability that everybody actually has. So everyone has got that one.
Animals, I mean, I know my cat
animals
has
have it very much so, yeah. So when we're talking about the feelings of being an empath, we have discussed this before, because you are very empathic. I mean, there's no doubt.
I'm in tears at the best of times.
The Telstra ads get you.
Oh, they do, yes.
Yeah. So, being an empath is different to actually being a clairsentient, which is where you can feel things that may be happening, or warnings from the spirit world, that you'll get that sort of dread feeling, or you'll get a good, happy feeling if something good's about to happen. Being an empath works in the same chakra, but it's actually feeling other people's emotions, right? So they're different.
And I do understand that feeling difference for sure. There is definitely, like, an emotional feeling is very different to that knowing feeling, or that other sense. They can get a little bit lost though, or confused at times if you're not sure if you're not aware of your own emotions compared to the emotions of somebody else.
Yeah, and kids especially, like kids that are very sensitive, and there's so many babies that are being born at the moment that have these psychic abilities, and that they're born with their natural gifts just switched on. And so you get these little empaths running around everywhere, you know, and they'll look at you and they'll either be beaming happy because you're loving a person and you're showing love through your energy, or they'll start crying immediately when they look at you, you know, if they feel that there's something that's not right. And so if you have a child like that, then that's because they are empathic. You know?
That's so gorgeous. I know when we first met, you said my oldest daughter Mercedes, you're like, I know she's an empath, and one of the crystals that you suggested was purple for when people are feeling, you know, when they're quite empathic, to sort of as a protection. So you suggested amethyst.
Yes, amethyst is a big protector. It's a spiritual protector. So it's a good all-rounder basically. But the amethyst will also feed the third eye, which is but we're not quite there.
We're not quite up to the third eye
yet, but we'll do that in a sec.
And so yellow, you can wear yellow. So actually this is quite funny, but my first bra was yellow because my mum refused to get me a sexy bra, like red or black. She's like, you're too young, because I got my boobs really young. I would have been 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And so I remember having this yellow bra, and now looking back, I'm like, how great for my gut instincts.
Well, exactly. It was doing exactly what it needed to do, and you never underestimate the power of suggestion when it comes to the body, you know. So you have got lots of different forms of yellow you can bring in as well. The sunlight is one of them.
Yeah.
We can also eat yellow foods.
Oh, bananas.
Bananas. And all of that is the same vibration. It's exactly the same vibration in those things. So you'll be drawn to eating like more yellow foods if you need to feed that area. And next one up is the heart chakra, which is something that we really need to talk about, because this is the one in most people that gets blocked.
Yeah.
Right. And I suppose one of the purposes, when we first came together and we spoke about doing this podcast, we were talking about how we could help people to find the path back to love and to be able to love themselves, because I get so many of my clients that come to me, all they want to know about is when the next relationship's coming or how they can fix the one that they're in. When it comes down to it, it's all about you. You are the one that needs to fix this area. And if you aren't complete in your own heart, then you're not going to be pulling in a person that is complete either, because you're going to be pulling in that lesson. Okay, so the vibration is a like attracts like. So if you're an insecure person, you may bring in someone with insecurities. That's going to show you your insecurities.
Got to reflect straight back.
And we have the whole mirror going on. Now, this doesn't just happen with love relationships and romance. It happens with, you know, family. It happens with children. It happens with friendships. It's like, yeah, it's like in your face all the time. The green feeds the heart chakra. And we also have like a pink, beautiful sort of light pink, which is unconditional love in spirit.
Rose quartz.
The rose quartz.
I actually have rose quartz. I do.
I just happen to have one I prepared earlier.
I do have one I prepared earlier. But it is a beautiful.
That is that colour. Yeah, it's perfect. It's the baby pink, basically, isn't it? But when we feel that loving energy from our family or from our pets give unconditional love, you know. You feel so wrapped up in that softness and that love and that safety, it becomes something that we crave so much that we forget that we can give it to ourselves because we crave it from the external sources. What is it that I would give to someone that I love the most? Whether it's your dog or your child or your partner, what would you give them? You've got to give that to yourself. You've got to be prepared to do all of that you do for them to you.
And that's a really big lesson. I think a lot of my clients as well come with body image issues and definitely self-love, because we're sort of, I don't know if we're born with it, but it feels that we're born with this little negative little voice inside of us, or it somehow by age 7 it's there. And
well, I'm going to get into a conspiracy theory here.
Oh good, okay, what's that one?
Because you know I'm the conspiracy
I know you love
queen.
It. Yes.
Well, actually it's easy, because when you look at it, we're programmed from a young age to think that we're not good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so not worthy. And so what makes you worthy? Oh, well, just, you know, look at the screen, look at the TV screen. They'll be telling you what's going to make you worthy. You know, the new job, the new car, the new dress. It's commercialism at its best, but it's to make us feel like we're not enough. Okay, and then you have, you know, these days, especially since the big boom in reality television, you've got people comparing themselves to these people that are living impossible lives. I won't name names. We know there's a certain family in America that's made a great deal of money out of their life and just people going into their life. And And then you try and emulate that here. It's never going to work because it's not real, it's not reality. And I've been to America and met those people, and I can tell you right now that they're very different off screen than they are on screen.
Yes, it's all an act.
It's an act. And so people are trying to, pretend to be that. So it's an unachievable goal.
Comparison is a major problem for most people, myself included. I've had times I was in a constant state of comparison, and from when we're young, again, we're taught opposites, like on, off, hot, cold, hard, soft. And so then when we start doing that with our thoughts, good, bad, wrong, right, and then we start placing judgments on things that actually aren't for us to even judge, and then not only is it a reflection of the other person that we're judging or wanting to compare ourselves to or to be like, but then it's a direct reflection on how we feel about ourselves. Self-love is so powerful. A few years ago I had an experience where I felt my heart chakra like burst open, and it was the most amazing experience. Sad stuff happens, or we feel heartbreak, and it's easy in those moments to want to close it back off, but it's so painful. I mean, I think we've all had a moment where our heart is actually broken, and it hurts, like our physical chest actually hurts from that pain, but that is actually a call to open, isn't it? In those moments we can, even through that pain, we can allow love in.
Look, absolutely. And, I deal with people every day that have had incredible losses, and to see people that come through that, the other side of that, and learn from it and grow from it, and just and acknowledge that life is a cycle, that nothing is perfect, and we're not meant to be perfect. We're meant to be here to learn. And the way we learn is by making mistakes, by making choices that maybe aren't so great for us at the time, but when we learn from that, as long as we don't go over and over and over the same ground, because that then becomes self-destructive.
I've done that before too.
When we're actually learning something from that.
It's like, why does this keep happening? There's the lesson in that. That's the question.
If you're asking yourself that question, then you're definitely on the right path, because you're starting to realise, why? Well, because I'm doing it to myself. There's no one else. And this is what I love about, people who think they understand the spiritual nature of things, and they think there's somebody or some, deity or something out there on a cloud, and they're pointing the finger, I'm going to give you a bad day today.
Yes.
It's not anyone else's fault. We do it actually to ourselves, but you have to gain that level of understanding and responsibility and go, maybe I am doing this because I need to learn these lessons. And don't be hard on yourself.
Yes,
right?
Just be kind.
Yeah.
That can be difficult in itself, to be kind. There's been so many times where I've been just awful. I mean, now I catch it very quickly. I mean, within a second or two, I'm going, why are you talking to yourself like that? You're not that bad. Come on, you're great. It's okay.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, teach yourself to look at yourself as a 2-year-old.
Yes.
Right?
How would you talk to that 2-year-old?
How would you talk to that 2-year-old? How would you respond? If that 2-year-old is going to touch something hot, they don't realise what's going to happen to them next, okay? And when they touch it and they hurt themselves and they start crying, you're not going to tell them off.
No, you're going to look after them.
Of course, because they've done something silly, but at the same time, they're hurt. So you've got to give yourself a bit of compassion and understand that, yes, you're going to make some mistakes, but then if you learn from them, don't touch it again. Don't do it again, all right? That's the key.
Oh, then you end up with lots of blisters on every finger. But it's true, kids do learn from that.
Kids are great. When you look at kids, they get up, they dust themselves off, and they're playing again within 5 minutes.
So they cry, they let it go.
Yeah,
and
let
they
it
move
go.
on.
And then, they have an argument with someone in the sandpit, and 10 minutes later they're hugging each other. So it's like, just don't hang on to stuff. Get on with it.
And unconditional love is misunderstood. I think that a pet or a child, if you are a parent, is a really great way to understand what unconditional love is. It's no matter what that child does or what your animal does, you'll clean up after it, you'll take it to the vet, you'll do all those things without judgment. It's just pure understanding and kindness, and that's really unconditional love.
Well, your pets are an extension, and your kids are an extension of your own soul.
Aww.
Right? Because with pets especially, we have a collective consciousness with them. And it's like they have imprintable souls, if you like. So when they come through, they will naturally be drawn to the person that's going to be their master, and that they're going to be there for them and be that connection that they need as an extension of that person's soul. Even the ones that are cruel to animals, they're being cruel to themselves. I know that sounds weird, but it's a form of self-hate.
That does make sense, though. Anything that if you're cruel to an animal, you're really not going to be that kind to yourself.
Well, no. That's true. So let's have a look at the next chakra. The throat chakra is the communication chakra. Now that's the blue.
Yes.
Everyone's got blue in their wardrobe. Everyone.
Yes, that's very true. Most people have blue in there.
And the biggest problem in our society today is that people don't speak their truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm not talking about truth as in they don't speak the truth that they like. They don't speak their truth, which is what they really want to say.
We shove it down, hold it in.
Yeah.
Because what do they say? If you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. I mean, I can think of a million times where it's like, I know even my dad used to say, children should be seen but not heard.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big one for a lot of people.
One. And so many kids got tonsillitis when they were young.
I did.
Heaps of people had their tonsils out at that age because that was the whole thing. Don't speak. You speak when you're spoken to. So we need to learn to be able to speak our truth, but in a loving and honest way, so that it's not derogatory to the other person. So that if you've got something to say it, but don't put that person down. And you can do that. It's quite easy to do that. You can just say, the way that you acted then made me feel like this.
Yes, it is. Right? It's not attacking.
No,
and that's the last thing
you made me feel like this. So you're actually being more assertive in your way. And you're making them understand, but then again, they may not. And that's something that you just have to deal with from the point of view that they're not ready to receive the information. So you don't go down that path with them. You just back off. But then you'll find that sometimes they will open up and they will be able to talk to you and they will let their guard down because the aggression is what makes more aggression.
Yes. And one thing I learned about the throat chakra was, for myself, was it's not just about us speaking, but also listening.
Yeah.
And that can be a really difficult thing to do, especially when we're not liking what we're hearing.
Yes.
Also, if we're at a point that we feel like we're right.
Yeah.
The amount of times in my life where I just was right. I had no reason that I thought I was right. I just was right.
Because you feared being wrong.
Because I feared being wrong. Because I didn't want to be wrong, so I had to be right.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to listen at that point because when you think you're right, you're not open to the possibilities, and not being open to the possibilities shuts so much down.
Everybody has their own version of truth when you think about it, and it's just a perspective thing.
That's right, and everything is a perspective, and it is beautiful when you do find your voice, and I love that. I love that terminology of finding your voice, because what it really means is that you can speak your truth and you can speak from your heart without fear of the ramifications or what people think of you or what they're going to say. And I think when it comes to spirituality, we've had this conversation a million times. I mean, I've been in a spiritual closet. I didn't want anyone to know that I had strong intuitions about things, or I have a voice that talks to me, or I can see auras, or any of those things. It's been something that I've kept very private because I really, my throat chakra was blocked, and I didn't feel that I could speak up and feel comfortable with the judgment that comes with that. And you've had a judgment
all
your
my
whole
life, but it's more about, I think you have to be true to yourself, and if these things are happening to you, they're happening to other people as well, and you've got to find your vibe tribe. You've got to find those people that you can talk to, and the other people that aren't ready to hear it, or they just choose not to be on that path, that's fine too. And it's a live and let live, society. We can do that. What I find to be sort of, I suppose, a little bit hurtful in the sense of if people are judging and they're actually putting you down and saying that you're wrong, or that you're unholy, or that you're the devil's spawn. Those wonderful things that they say to people like us. It's more about their misinterpretation of what we do.
And lack of understanding, or wanting to understand, because it can be scary when we don't know something. It's very fearful.
Yeah, and we understand that.
And so we've gone throat,
third eye.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. It's a doozy. So the third eye is actually your pineal gland, which is in the centre of your brain. So a lot of people depict it as a big eye in your forehead. It's actually not that, but it is. It is felt energetically in the centre of your forehead. So you can feel tingles or burning sensations, and that is the third eye opening.
It's funny, when you say it, then I suddenly start feeling it.
Of course you do.
Wherever we put the focus, we can start to feel.
Well, that's right. Well, this gland is actually depicted in. Egypt was an amazing place. I spent quite a few lifetimes there. So one of my favourite places. But we have, the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus, and you've seen that with the beautiful shape, the makeup that they used to wear. If you actually cut the brain in half, you will see that around the pineal gland is exactly the shape of the eye of Horus, where it sits in the brain. So they knew this, right? And they knew that the pineal gland was the gland that could see into the spirit world. So, and then the gland itself, the pineal gland is actually like a pine cone shaped gland inside your brain. It's filled with water, right? But the lining or the cells that are on the inside of that gland actually have rods and cones in them, which are the little cells that detect light in your own physical eyes. Why would that be in the centre of a brain? You have to ask yourself. So that's why it's called the third eye, and it takes in the light through the crown chakra. And so when we're getting images and things, when thoughts pop in your head, when there's pictures that pop in and you're not thinking about that at all, it might be a flash of someone's face. That's how spirit are communicating with you visually into your third eye. And so you can see colour with your third eye. When you close your eyes at night and you're seeing colours swirling around. Just
meditation.
You're actually seeing your own aura when it happens. But you can see, colours will be, as we said before, a message. There's a blockage here, there's a blockage there. You need to use that more, or that chakra more. So the third eye is able to then often receive images of possible futures. And we say possible futures because nothing's set in stone, particularly at the moment. All right?
Confusing times.
Oh, God. Okay, we're jumping, timelines all over the place at the moment. So there's things that are happening. There's a big great awakening that's happening on our planet. People are in all sorts of different states of awakening, and so you're going to get the ones that are really fearful and blocked, and you get the other ones that are having massive dreams and communications with the spirit world, and they don't know what's going on, and it's really freaking them out. And then there's the ones that have been doing that for years. We're just like sitting and going, okay, everyone else is finally catching up.
I've always been able to visualise things and see things. It seems so natural, like you talking to spirits, and I'm like, nope, don't have that.
Yeah.
But I can see imagery, and for a lot of people that third eye is blocked, and they don't necessarily get the images. So what are some ways that you can open up your third eye?
By design, fluoride deposits into the third eye will cause a calcification, which means it'll actually make it go hard and useless. On MRIs, when they're looking for brain tumours, they look to see the little white dot, which is the calcified pineal gland in the middle of the brain, to see whether it's moved left or right, and that way they can see whether there's a tumour, because the tumour will push it across. So that's really freaky. But fluoride in the water, it's not up here where we live, but down in other states it is, and that fluoride in your toothpaste, that sort of thing, they say it's very good for your teeth, terrible for your pineal gland.
Right.
Okay? That's what first thing, get rid of fluoride. Secondly, once you've done that, you can chelate the fluoride out of your system and get rid of that calcification. So there's ways to do that, which we won't go into right now, but there's ways to do that. And the other thing is, look, energy work, meditation, Reiki, fabulous for opening you up, amazing. Reiki's incredible. I taught it for 20 years. And anything to do with spiritual progress, which is like actually identifying where your blocks are and dealing with them, emotional blocks. Past life regressions can be great help. Normally a blocked third eye is due to the fact that you've been persecuted for being psychic in a past life, burnt at the stake as a witch or something like that.
Which is a lot of women.
Oh yeah, a lot of men as well. A lot of people over the, because we reincarnate into different, male and female bodies, but you'll find that, if you are blocked spiritually, it's usually because that you've suffered some kind of persecution in the past.
Wow. I think for a lot of people, when you know that it's opening, you can start to become aware of the images and be like, oh, what's that popping into my head? Yeah. And it could be, I think sometimes we get like the picture of, like you said, a face, a friend, or some people see names or numbers or all sorts of things in that region, and you start getting confirmation.
And then it's sort of like, I've got to figure this out. It's like a little psychic detective game that they play with us, because it's very symbolic, most of the symbols that come through. And dreams is a big one too. If you have vivid dreams, always write them down, because there's messages in them.
That's beautiful. And then you see the synchronicities.
You do.
That's where you can start to really understand that your intuition's waking up and you're really knowing it. Last one is the crown chakra.
Yes, the crown chakra is on the top of your head, and it's your filter basically. So it's filtering the energy that's coming through from the cosmos, because if we didn't have it, we'd be flattened.
Well, doesn't sound very nice.
It's big energy.
Pancake?
Yes. Yeah. So we have this filter, and it brings in the energy through the crown and goes all the way down to Mother Earth, of course, and then connects us back up in this lovely big circuit that comes around. So when all the chakras are open and clear and we don't have any emotional blockages, we don't get physically ill. It's that simple.
That sounds amazing.
That's where we're all headed. This is where we're headed, to the fifth dimension, you see, where this is where they talk about the ascension. They talk about, living in a euphoria of never having illness again, never having wars again, all of those things. And it's hard to believe at the moment because we're looking around at this big mess and we're going, my gosh, how are we ever going to get there? But there's always got to be, I suppose, a cataclysm of things to bring people's awareness to what's actually happening to themselves and to the world, and for them to make better choices, and I think that we're in it now. Make a better choice.
And awareness, that's the first step to all of this, isn't it? Just becoming aware.
Yes.
So I guess for people listening for the next week, maybe try wearing some new colours that you haven't worn. Maybe have a look and feel what you're drawn towards as well, because that's a big part of it, isn't it?
Always.
With your intuition.
Yeah, and if you put something on in the morning and you're like, and you've got to take it off, do it. Don't think, I don't have time, because that's your body telling you need something else.
I hope everybody enjoyed our very first podcast.
Yeah, we did.
We did. That was fun. That was great.
Good time.
And we've got some awesome further episodes coming up, so be sure to tune in weekly. Awesome.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. You've been listening to the Divine Style podcast with Alison Maiden and Gerlinda Stella. You can find us at alisonmaiden.com and gerlinda.com.au.